Barry, you're a personal trainer at Scott Fitness. You've been there for how many years?
I guess going on right in 8 years. Yeah, it's been a long
8
time.
years. And you met John Scott because of...
I initially met him at another gym, and he was a member there, and we talked about, he was a trainer also, and he told me about his gym. I started working part-time with him there, so I was working both places for a while.
I was talking to John last week about this interview and trying to get some background information, and he said that the first time you met John, he was crying. Is this true?
Yes, it was actually, he trained me to train at the studio, and he had tears welling up in his eyes. He wasn't concentrating, and I asked him what was wrong, and I guess he had just been served divorce papers, I think like an hour before that. So I don't think that was his favorite day. So that's my second meeting of John Scott.
Were you training him when this happened, or you guys were just working out around?
Yeah, he was actually, if I recall, he was training me the first time, and then I went through a series of times training him, and he was, kind of see where I was at. And
So he wasn't crying because you were like working?
no, I'm pretty
He was
sure it
working too
wasn't.
hard.
It wasn't that, because he was actually training me, I think, that day.
All right. So you went to college in Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah, sure did.
For fine arts.
It was a design major with emphasis in fine art.
What kind of fine art?
I did drawing and painting. I specialized, what I liked the most probably was drawing.
So do you have any kind of inspirational, like, artists?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Italian Renaissance, so like Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and I like their figure sketches. I like the Impressionist painters like Van Gogh. I don't know, I just like the intense drama of things. And
So you grew up in Springfield. How long have you been in the Kansas City area?
I've lived here for like the last 12 years, and before that, Springfield. I actually grew up mainly in Germany. I lived there from 5 to 16, so I spent most of my childhood in Germany.
Where were you born? Around this
I was born
area?
in Springfield, Missouri.
Okay.
My parents were missionaries, and we moved overseas when I was 5, and they worked for a denomination called Assemblies of God, and they had like teen challenge, like drug outreach programs and stuff like that.
All over Germany, or just like one place?
We started different places, but the bulk of the time we were in a place called Worms, which is the actual oldest city in Germany.
What is it
And
called?
it's called Worms. It's spelled just like Worms, W-R-M-S. It has a cathedral that's probably the oldest in all of Germany, if I'm not mistaken. And Martin Luther nailed his theses there, so that's where the Lutheran denomination started, the Protestant denomination. So it's kind of a historically famous city.
Do you, can you speak German?
Ja, ich spreche Deutsch etwas. Ich habe ein bisschen vergessen, aber ich kann ziemlich viel erinnern.
What does that mean?
I said, I speak it pretty well. I've forgotten some, but I remember lots of it.
So were you in public schools or anything out there? Were you like
No,
self-taught?
actually, we did some homeschooling for the most part, yeah. We
So-
went to like a military school. We went to German school for 1 year. Besides that, it was homeschooling.
Military school sounds a little scary.
No, it's just for the kids of the people that are in the military. It's just like a regular school. It's not
So
like,
it's like a
you live
kind of
at
like
home.
is it an
Yeah,
American school?
Yeah, it's just
for-
an American school, just for the people that are in the service. It's a regular school.
All my friends who went to military school were in trouble.
Oh, no.
Basically.
It's not like that. It's not like you go away. It's not like that kind of, not like a boarding school, just it's a regular school.
So then you moved back to Kansas. Why did you move back to Kansas City? Did you move back with your parents?
Springfield's where I live. I just kind of moved here on a whim, like, 12 years ago.
You mentioned before that you were heavily into bodybuilding. So, I mean, to me, you look pretty, like you do a lot of bodybuilding. So I couldn't really imagine you being much more into bodybuilding than that.
I started out when I was probably like 12.
Wow.
And so I've always had the desire to work out, just kind of innate. And but I kind of took it. There was a point where I took it too far, and I now do not recommend people like get obsessively involved with bodybuilding. And that would probably be the point that I wouldn't recommend.
Was there kind of like a bodybuilder culture in Springfield?
Actually, there really was. It was kind of a hotbed for bodybuilders. So it was kind of, I guess, peer pressure or whatever. Why somebody does what they do. I mean, when I was in my mid-20s, I got up to 240 pounds and was a competitive bodybuilder, and it was like 2 hours in the gym, an hour cardio, just nonstop eating. And I mean, it was okay for what it was, but there was a point when I realized, and I kind of had like an epiphany, that I wanted to be healthy and not just, big and massive and eat protein all the time. So it was kind of a liberating experience to finally, be able to work out and not be obsessed with it and find a balance. Is he snoring? That's what that is.
John told me that he went to college with Bob.
Yeah, Bob is a 16-year-old puppy, I think. And he's doing pretty well considering he's an old boy. And he was living with his granny, and when he came to live with John Scott put him on a diet, and he lost probably like 10 pounds. He used to really be heavy, and he lost the weight, and he just started running all over the place. He got a sudden surge of energy.
Wow. So that's what happens when you eat right and work out, isn't it, Barry?
Yeah, you get more active, yeah.
Okay, yeah. You've been modeling for how long?
Not that long, actually. Probably for like maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this roughly about the same time you started training?
Probably like a few months before. Because
Okay.
before I was too bulked up with bodybuilding, so I wasn't able to do anything like that. And then when I leaned up a little bit, I started doing some photography.
What kind of modeling have you done?
Mainly just like fitness stuff, and I've done like a dairy milk commercial, and I've done a bit of Men's Health magazine, and I've done some shoots in New York City, a Budweiser commercial, actually a Bush commercial, sorry. I shot in Los Angeles. It was pretty cool.
I saw in your portfolio that you listed Dave Letterman. Were you on Dave Letterman?
I wasn't actually on David Letterman. It was a picture. They're doing some promotion thing for whatever it was, and they flashed like 25 pictures or something, and I was one of the pictures that they flashed.
What was it?
And I'm not
for?
sure how they got the picture. It was something about, it had a bunch of guys like in swimsuits and stuff. But I was in Chicago at this bar when I saw it. It's kind of weird. I don't understand how they got it. It's just kind of weird, but they did. So they must have got it off the Scott Fitness website.
Did you become a trainer like as a result of modeling?
It was kind of a combination because I was doing fitness, so then I did some fit modeling, and then that probably helped me get into training somewhat.
Yeah.
It was a combined interest, probably, I think.